Hey everyone, I'm Valerie Lomas and welcome to the frying donuts tutorial from Life is What You Bake It. I went ahead and I made the basic donut recipe and these are ready to go into the fryer, even though what I've got is I have a Dutch oven that's got a few inches of oil in it, and I have a thermometer that I just have put in it, and I like this kind of thermometer because you can just look at it and see the temperature of the oil. So before I put these in the oil, two important things about frying: temperature and time. So the temperature of the oil needs to be correct for the recipe, and how long the item stays in the oil needs to be correct. So if you're ready to fry and your oil is too hot, you can add some room temperature oil and that will cool it down. You can also turn your heat all the way off or lower it, which will cool it down but will take a little bit more time. Or you can throw some scraps in the oil or your donut holes, and that will also help get the oil cooler quicker. So I fry these at 325, and I'm like right between 325 and 330, which is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna fry 3 at a time, because if you put too many, then they don't have room to bob around. And the more you put in, the more it's going to affect the temperature of the oil, because as you fry things, it cools the oil down. And you have to lower them into the oil carefully so that it doesn't splatter.
It's also important to protect your skin by wearing long sleeves, pants, and shoes.
You guys close up. So even as they're frying, I have to pay attention to the oil. So the oil, it got a little bit hot, so I just turned it down. And as they fry, I'm just gonna keep an eye on the oil, and if the oil starts to get a little cool, I'm just gonna turn the heat up.
It's been a couple of minutes and I'm checking to see if the donuts are golden on the bottom side, and since they are, I'm flipping them over. It's been another couple of minutes, and since the other side is now golden, I'm removing them from the oil. And now for the second batch that's frying.
So I know the donuts are ready to flip when they are a nice golden brown color, and when both sides are, that means we can take them out of the oil. And I like to use this to take them out so that the oil can kind of drip off. And I'm just gonna move them to a paper towel lined plate. And for these donuts, you don't have to flip them over and over. You only have to flip them once they are golden brown on one side. But I like to use a little tool so I can just take a peek and see when they're ready. But you could use a fork, you could use chopsticks, and these look good to go. As long as your temperature of your oil is correct, once they are golden, they are ready. If your oil is too hot, when they are golden, they are going to be uncooked in the middle. So as you're making these, you can always test a few and make sure that they're cooked in the middle. So I'm gonna let them stay on my paper towel lined plate for just a minute, and then I'm going to either glaze them, or in this case, I'm just gonna dip them in some sugar, because keeping things really simple with my donuts today. So if you look at these donuts that I dipped in sugar and you see that little white line, that lets you know that your donuts are like fried to perfection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on frying donuts. Remember the two things: make sure your oil is the right temperature and stays the right temperature the whole time you fry the donuts. Be very careful with lowering the donuts into the oil. For yeast-raised donuts like these basic donuts, you don't want to deflate them. And then also make sure that your donuts are in the oil for the right amount of time. Use the guidelines in the recipe, but also use your eyes, use your senses. And once it gets to that beautiful golden brown color, you can flip it over and you know that it's ready. So make sure that you check out the other tutorials. Thank you. Happy baking. Practice bakes perfect.